Hello, my name is Paco, and I'm here with Morgana, and we will be going over PRs for the Seafoam Islands Draft League Season 2. Morgana, if you want to say hi.
How's it going?
Me and a couple other people, just sat down. We put the teams of what we think is kind of the best order. Now, in no ways are any of the teams awful. Some are just a smidge better than others, but we were just talking about what we think the teams can do, and just little bits and pieces.
Yeah, I do want to say your team is almost completely dependent on how you perform with it, not how the actual team is.
Even the number 16 ranked on the PRs can end up being the number 1 in the league overall. You never know.
Exactly.
We have the Mid-Coast Bravebirds, I believe coached by...
Sir Roland.
Yeah. So, looking at his team, he has Heatran, Staraptor, Whimsicott, Rabambi, Swoobat, Torterra, Basculin, and for freeze, Reuniclus, Zoroark, Mesprit, and Pincurchin, and his Mega is Heracross. So, to start off with the team, it's definitely unconventional, to say the least. Normally, you see, while it does have the Fire, Water, Fairy, usually, you'll see Basculin, Torterra, Heatran together. Triple Psychic is also very different to me.
That's just a Roland thing, though. He loves his psychic types.
Oh, they're not bad psychics either. Two of the psychics are very prominent, sweeper Pokemon. And if you've ever used Reuniclus before,
I've never used Reuniclus before, but
Reuniclus as a Pokemon is very good. It can be one-off, knock-off, or just outright be very annoying. Or you can just turn it into a monster setup sweeper to just pick off weakened teams. That's what his main breakers are, pretty much. You have Heatran, which can break, but it's more better for fatter stall stuff. But mons like Staraptor and Mega Heracross are what you're going to be wanting to use to break. Because Basculin doesn't want to come to every game, especially if there's another bulky water or grass type on the other side.
I love the Basculin pick, though. It's so funny to me.
Basculin can be very good at its adaptability, and with a choice band, it moves like Aqua Jet and Waterfall just destroy.
I'm just excited to see it be used, honestly, because I've never seen that thing used in a competitive sense before.
Well, I can tell you, you'll be in for a treat when it can pick off the teams. I think I know why he picked the Pincurchin. It's for Unburden, it's for simple Swoobat. Because it will consume its electric seed, and it will get the simple boost, and if it Calm Minds, it can run the Cheese Store Powered set. That's the thing, it has 2 different Store Power users that can run the, very much like Cheese kind of set.
I never thought of that, and I really like that. That is a fun set to use, and I'm kind of excited to see him do that now.
It'll be definitely interesting to see how he performs with his teams. We have the Canadian Milkbags. I just want to point out before anything, there's only one hazard remover, and it is Regieleki. You have a couple Pokemon that just do not want to take hazard chip. Typhlosion, one of your main sweepers on this team, an Ice Cube, and your overall few walls don't want to take Rock Chip after a bit.
Celesteela can defog, right?
No, it can't.
Really?
Yeah, no, it can't.
Okay, well, I mean, my morals say to never use Celesteela, so I don't know anything about it. I know how to beat it, because I have to fight it all the time, but...
Okay, his team is very HO, because, you have Shuckle, which is kind of a dead giveaway, and then looking at some of the other mons, like Zygarde 10, Ice Cube, Typhlosion, Regieleki, the Inteleon, and then it has this bulky stuff in Celesteela, Megavinu Blissey, which is already very annoying to deal with, because they form a very, which I think is quite strong. I don't know about the Hoopa. I think the Hoopa's a bit more unconventional to use.
Hoopa gets Magician, right?
Yeah, it's base form Hoopa. It's a little bit less bulky than the other one, or a little less powerful. So it's definitely interesting to see Hoopa confined, but he can make it work.
I can see it there to cause some shenanigans. And
yeah, the reason I put this team a little bit higher than the other one was I felt like it at least can get its sweepers going, and I think it can definitely be very annoying with its defensive core.
I do like the idea of having a lot of frail, super hyper offense Pokemon, like Inteleon, like Typhlosion, and if it ever gets into a bad matchup, you can just switch out into a sponge like Blissey or like Venusaur.
I think the main thing he needs to worry about though is not letting these like bulkier Pokemon take too much chip. I think another issue he has is he didn't draft a fairy type, so he's going to be relying on Celesteela pretty much to be taking all of his dragon hits that are on the physical side. He has Mons that can make it work. Like, I can definitely think he can win a couple games.
Yep.
We have the Eternal Fractral.
Factoral.
I butchered
Now-
this one. I misspelled it.
It's fine. Looking at the top of the team, you have Dragon Ball Togekiss, which is already very good. Kartana is very good to splash in it with as well. It becomes very offensive very quickly. Beedrill, but that's kind of where I kind of draw my line. If you look at the rest of the team, it does not blend well together, in my opinion. You have 3 Defoggers on this team, but it also comes down to having a lot of double typing. 3 Ghost Pokemon and then DDD, so your Coast and Dark switch-ins are already put on limit. I think Flying can be a huge issue for him as well, like Bird Spam type stuff. Double Fairy, you have Double Steel, but your Steel types, Bastrodon does not want to come to every game because it's Bastrodon. And Kartana can be very frail, so you can't rely on it to be a defensive check. And while you do have Chestnut as a defensive grass in case you need to switch between the two, it comes down to the double typing again, because there's just so much of it on the team. I definitely think it can work.
A big Pokemon that I'm looking at here is Comfy. I just personally think Comfy is a very underrated Pokemon.
It definitely is a very underrated Pokemon. Setup potential, cleric potential, and it can provide a lot to the team.
Even though I don't want to talk much during this video, like point one thing out. Indeedee and Comfey is kind of counterproductive.
This right, Psychic Terrain. I get why he did it. He wants his fast Pokemon to be faster. It does hinder mons like Comfy in the end of this game. It feels like he was trying to draft 2 different teams.
Well, and at the same time, you're only bringing 6 Pokemon each battle, so...
Yeah, no, I get that. I'm just saying, I think it feels like 2 different teams kind of got blended into one. It has what it needs. It has rocks. It has cores. It has really good Pokemon in Dragon Ball Togekiss. And it has offensive pressure, so...
And then again, it has the same thing that I said about the last team, of how you have a lot of extremely heavy attacking Pokemon, and if it ever gets into a bad situation, you can just switch into those sponges.
With these sponges, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to rely on them as much as you want to with the other team.
Correct. Yep.
But I don't know. I think this team and the other team could be switched around a bit for this position. But that's just my opinion. So going on to Team 13, we have Mukuro Attack, Megazard Y, Lando T, Tangrowth, Venomoth, Klefki, Dusknoir, Appleton, Electros, Nihilego, Manaphy, Behemoth, Kecleon. Right off the bat, you can notice that you want to keep rocks off. A lot of just your threats are going to take rock chip pretty early on. Don't want that. I think he thinks some of his walls are amazing walls, but I think they can get chipped up pretty easily. But I like his cohesiveness. I like what he put together personally.
I like the idea. I remember seeing, because he drafted Charizard Y first, so I was expecting a Sun team like straight up. And then after he drafts Manaphy, which I thought was strange, to say the least. But at the same time, those are 2 Pokemon, like regardless of weather, those things can do big damage without the sun or the rain in the air.
I think, is Manaphy tier 1 or tier 2?
Manaphy is tier 1.
Okay, so while it doesn't get Z moves, it still has Tail Glow because we do allow cut moves. I don't know. I just like the team comp to me is what I like the most about it. And while it does double type in some places, it's very hard to switch in if he gets his team set up pretty much. Lando T, Zard Y can just, like you said, clean up teams. And he has 2 very good setups, and Klefki and Nihilego can definitely get the ball rolling. One
little gripe I have with this team is his 2 walls, which are, I wouldn't even say that Appleton is that much of a wall, but Appleton and Tangrowth are both weak to fire, which will get boosted by Sun that Charizard Y sets up.
That is a bit of an issue.
But at the same time, he can use Manaphy and set up Rain if he feels like it, So, and plus they don't have to come to the same battle, because you're only bringing 6 to a battle.
He has Nihilego too, which if you didn't know is like a very good spit F wall.
True. So, and also Lando T has Intimidate.
I put it above the others. I think it could be a good team. Like just looking at it, I think it could be very good.
This team is my least favorite thing I've ever seen in my life. This team is very slow, very defensive, very trick room, and I hate everything about it.
Okay, so starting with the pros of this team, it's very fat. It's a trick room team seen by setting up Cloister and Slowbro Omega. You can use Emblor in it too, and Gudra. And on top of that, you have very thick stall mons like Chansey, Dustclops, Moongus, Mega Bro, Umbreon, Corviknight. Like, it's a very hard team to try and break, and with the pressure, it becomes a really good stall team. Donphan's very good inclusion too, because it gives you spin on top of one of the best defoggers in the game in Corviknight. So rocks can stay off, or Blastrier, Bro, and more all to come in very freely. Now onto the cons. This team's very slow.
The fastest Pokemon on this team is Gudra at base 80 speed.
Yeah. when your speed control relies around Trick Room, there's issues because it can get abused very quickly. And while you can say this is a very good team, it's just slow.
Yeah, in a draft situation, when we know what he's bringing every week, we can set up to counter Trick Room, and that is the one big issue I see with it.
It becomes very easy to prep for. But
one of the big things with facing stall though, which is going to be an extremely scary situation. When you're doing a stall battle, every single Pokemon you have is important. If you lose just one Pokemon, your whole plan can crumble, and he can rely on, a single Pokemon to start recovery stalling you, and then you're just screwed.
Correct. While you can just go, hey, I'm going to go full offense with my Trick Room, because he does have the pieces for it, because he has Dustclops, he has Mega Bro, Emblor, he can just go full off. I think some games it may just fall short if it can't pick up the kills correctly, but overall, I think it's a pretty good team. I like stall teams, personally, so I like this team.
Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of that.
I can't see where it falls flat. This team is also quite offensive. So he has setup sweepers, the tip of a hat, right? He has Darmg, he has Slurpuff. I do not think we banned Z conversion.
We did not. No, Z conversion is legal.
Megalopody is very good at picking up kills. And then he has setup. In Roserade, Smeargle.
He has Musharna and Lilligant too.
A lot of what this team boils down to is setup spam. But in my opinion, the setup spam here, the games that involve this team are not going to last a while.
No.
Like, they're going to be done very quickly.
This team is going to be extremely scary to specifically prep for because there are so many threats to sweep you.
It becomes egregious when you look in your team builder, you're like, all right, how do I stop all these setup sweepers without, like, if you don't have an unaware Pokemon, it's like, what am I about to do to not just get swept? First
you'll say, okay, the big threat is Darmanitan because of Guerrilla Tactics, and you can choice Scarf it, and maybe you'll set up for that, and then you'll look at, oh, Porygon has Z conversion, how do I set up for that? Oh, Slurpuff has Unburdened Belly Drum, how do I set up for that? Oh, Lopunny exists, how do I set up for that? Oh, there's Aegislash, who is a wild Pokemon. There's so many threats here that sometimes typing doesn't matter.
I think the double fighting could be a bit awkward.
There's a big weakness to fighting here too.
Yeah, no, there definitely is. And Darm, BZ, Lops, if a fighting type gets set up, you know what's about to happen. Urshifu can tear through this. Overall, it's setup spam, but I think it's decent setup spam. I know there's another setup spam team that we've covered, but I just like this one a bit more, to be honest. We have the Burger King dress in our first of two rain teams. I looked between the two rain teams. This was definitely the more unconventional rain team. Zapdos, Dragonite, Politoed, Orbeetle, Persian Alola, Mega Blastoise, Blaziken, Wigglytuff, Ferrothorn, Nidoking, Beartic, and Kabutops. To start off with this team, he has about 4 rain sweepers. I guess 5 if you count the Blastoise. Everything can abuse the rain.
See, the thing I like about this team though is it can abuse the rain, but it also doesn't necessarily have to.
He could definitely just crack out a normal 6-mon team that doesn't involve the rain. Like Zapdos on its own is good. Dragonite on its own is good. You don't even need to bring the Politoed half the time because half the team can do it. Because he has another water type out in Mega Blastoise. And he has 2 Rapid Spinners. While they're both water type, I think that's fine. He has amazing defoggers in Zapdos and Dragonite. He has webs on this, so it overall becomes a very good team in the grand scheme of things.
I just want to say I extremely respect the Wigglytuff pick and the Beartic pick. I've used both of those before in Tier 5, and they both suck, but I love them very much.
Wigglytuff, that's the Dragon Bolt counter. You just don't know, man.
That's the I love it.
team, we have the Spikemuth Morpicos. Now this is
This is my team.
this team's so good.
No, it's not.
No. Like when I think of that, right, I just see Screens offensive with a Rillaboom. And I'm like, alright, this is gonna be annoying to play against. Honestly, I was getting to the point where I was thinking, man, what am I gonna do to rank everything? And eventually I came across this. So, Rillaboom, Rillaboom Lucha with Screens, Mawile, Slowking Galar, which is like the fattest thing in the world. If you've never played against Slowking Galar, I swear this thing is impossible to kill half the time in one hit. And with Rillaboom, you're really not going to kill it in one hit. It has defenses on both sides, like in Psychic and Poison, so knock off with a Colbur just doesn't kill. And it has setup, it can just stall. It's really annoying to deal with, this Pokemon.
And I didn't know it existed until I did this draft.
You have Trick Room out your ass as well. Have the Slowking to set up the Trick Room for Mawile, Crystal, Grandpa if you wanted to, I guess. And in terms of bumping speed tiers, I think it goes Lucha, Pico, Combuskin, Zygarde, or I don't know, something like that.
Zygarde is faster than Combuskin.
Alright, I was wondering for a second, but overall it bumps down pretty well. It's very offensive. It can play defensive if it needs to, and Zygarde Blastoise, but overall it screens offensive, but this is the best defensive team that was created.
The big thing that I had behind this, which wasn't even like the plan when I first started, but my Victory Road team was just ridiculously fast. I think my slowest Pokemon was like base 90 or something, which the downside to that is extremely frail. And with this team, I tried to make it, obviously this team is a lot slower than it was before. There's only one Pokemon I have with over base 100. But this team has a lot of priority, which I like a lot.
I definitely see it in 2 Sucker Punch Pokemon. Extreme speed and just fast. I see what you mean. Grassy Glide as well. Like, just...
And then Prankster, obviously.
Yeah, there's just so much this team that can just be quite annoying for other teams to deal with. I'm actually going to have to dip for the rest of these, so I trusted you.
You're trusting me now?
I do trust in you. I pass on the torch to you, man.
Alright.
Yeah, that's my take. I'm Paco. Please cheer for me for the rest of these.
If anyone wants to join me, they can. This is King's team, Sacramento Samurais. We have Mew, Stakataka, Rotom-Mow, Weezing, Galar, Mudsdale, Skuntank, Raticate, Infernape, Kyurem, Masquerain, Trevenant, and Mega Gyarados. This team, in my opinion, it has the good Mudsdale and Stakataka. I know Colin hates the Stakataka pick, but it is a good wall. Obviously, Galarian Weezing. And then, you know, the super fast Infernape. It has the good Mew, who can pretty much do anything. It has a huge move pool. A good setup sweeper in Gyarados. Defog, I already forget its name, Skuntank, and Rotom-Mow. Overall, I think this team's pretty solid. And honestly, when people are trying to bash on this team, I don't understand it. Because this team looks pretty good in my opinion.
In my opinion, the offensive potential of this team is unreal. Like, the mixture of Mew, Mega Gyarados, Kyurem, and Infernape definitely, I reckon, places this team quite highly, in my opinion. I think there's enough bulk here between Stakataka, between Mudsdale, between some of these other mons that will still allow his offensive team to sort of shine through.
I agree. I've been looking at, honestly, like picking Mega Gyarados for a long time, because that thing is so good, in my opinion. It has pretty decent defensive stats, plus it gets Dragon Dance. So if you can set up Dragon Dance and just spam Waterfall, this thing can win if it doesn't have anything countering it on the other side. So this is Rebellious Beautify, which is made by Tiller, and it has Melmetal, Obstagoon, Noivern, Empoleon, Arctozolt, Lanoon, Sandslash, Alola, Tapu Bulu, Vanilluxe, Hatterene, Pyroar, Altaria. And the first thing that pops out in my eye is this is a very Tiller-like team. He likes his speed. Melmetal was a weird pick. When he picked Melmetal, I was like, this is not going to be a Tiller team. But then it kind of went back. He always picks Altaria, Mega Altaria. He likes that thing a lot. Obstagoon is just... He named his team last time the Galactic Goons, which I thought was hilarious. And he has a Hail Core, which is amazing, and I love it.
Also, a Hail Core that provides Aurora Veil as well. So, on an offensive team like this, having something like Aurora Veil to sort of support those sweeps, I think it's really nice.
Don't sweep on Arctozolt. It's crazy. There's like no switching. It's so good. Alright, yeah, I'm back to
I've never fought I'm extremely inexperienced when it comes to Gen 8 competitive Pokemon, so I don't know much about this. The only weakness here that I see is a weakness to fighting. He has 8 Pokemon that are weak to fighting. I feel like Tapu Bulu and Mega Altaria are going to be coming to almost every battle.
Bulu was a nice partner to Melmetal, really weakening that ground type weakness. Plus Melmetal being a really good poison switch in. There's poisons that want to try and sneak attacks onto Bulu. I think the pure wall-breaking power of this team is pretty impressive. Between Melmetal, Obstagoon, you have really threatening sweepers in Linoon, his Hail Core, Altara if you get set up. And he's even got some Trick Room options with the Hatterene and the Melmetal. Not a huge amount of defense. There's a little bit of defensive synergy between his offensive Pokemon, but overall he's got a very nice variety of offensive threats that will give a lot of people a lot of problems during prep.
He can bring plenty of different playstyles to each battle. Like, no battle has to be the exact same when you're fighting Tiller. And that's what the big scary part about this. Alright, this is Startoad's team, the Blue Cloister Colt, which is an amazing team name, by the way, Startoad. Props to that. And it has Garchomp, Gengar, Slowking, Swellow, Colossal, Pangoro, Alolan Exeggutor, Zarude, Gardevoir, Boltund, Weezing, and Caesar.
Off the gate, Mega Scizor into Garchomp is a really good offensive first 2 picks. Really handles the fires that Scizor doesn't like. Scizor deals with the fairies. A lot of this team does hinge on Scizor being a really good Pokemon, but he's also paired that with Slowking. He's got really good options pivoting around. He's got U-Turn, he's got Teleport, he's got Parting Shot, he's got Volt Switch. He's got a lot of decent offensive threats here. A lot of his bulk does hinge on Scizor, Slowking, and his Weezing, so I guess he'll have to sort of prioritize making sure that I get worn down too much.
The Scizor is obviously the best, the big scary mon in this team, but obviously Gengar is a good sweeper. I love using Gengar, that thing's amazing. Garchomp is a pretty decent, like, underratedly bulky Pokemon in my opinion, and plus it's obviously hits like a truck.
The one thing I wish I could see a bit more from this team is some hazard setting and some hazard removal. But yeah.
This is Pidgey Arts, made by Danny. This is Danny, right? I think it's Danny. Urshifu, Single Strike, Sylveon, Swampert, Bronzong, Licky Licky, Dragalge, Butterfree, Heliolisk, Arcanine, Celebi, Meowstic Male, and Banette. Mega Banette. Urshifu Single Strike. That's a Pokemon.
And a half.
Yeah, it's this thing. That thing hits like a truck. That thing can single-handedly counter a lot of teams, which is, that's just the way it works. It can crit whenever it wants, and it obviously has Sylveon as a good cleric, probably the best cleric in the game. Licky Licky can deal with all the weather teams that we have this season, because there is a lot of random weather that's coming out. And he also has Arcanine and Heliolisk to take advantage of weather if he really feels like it.
Props to Danny for actually picking up Mega Banette. The thing's really cool, really fun to use. This will allow him to do a lot of stall breaking as well. Between Urshifu and Banette, potentially here just rip apart purely defensive teams. I think as well the screens from Meowstic make Urshifu an even scarier threat. I think if there was one thing I would change about this team, it'd be add another really strong offensive partner with Urshifu. Honestly, the support around it is really solid here.
Well, I will say that this team does not have very strong removal, but I think it's strong enough to where that doesn't really matter too much. Yeah, there isn't really too many rock weaknesses anyway, so I think the removal weakness is fine.
One Pokemon I just want to mention here is Bronzong. That's another Pokemon I think is extremely underrated, just because you kind of have to guess what ability it has. Because it can have the ability to completely wall out fire types or ground types. That's always good to have in draft, just to have Pokemon that keep people guessing. That's good. Yep.
I agree.
We have the Children of Vatua, and this is Kiwi's team. And he has Jirachi, Cinderace, Florges, Meloetta, Vileplume, Hitmontop, Golem, Dracovish, Flygon, Moltres, Galarian Form, Hippopotas, and Sableye. This team is extremely scary. Looking at it at first, obviously Jirachi is a huge threat in general, just because you almost have to be faster than it. If it's faster than you and gets the ability to spam Iron Heads, then you just have the ability to get flinched out and lose. Cinderace and Dracovish are huge offensive threats, and Galarian Moltres. I really like the Galarian Moltres pick.
I do enjoy the sneaky Hippopotas pick to activate Dracovish's Sand Rush. I think that adds an interesting element a lot of teams might have to prep for, is a speed boosting Sand Rush Dracovish. I think Alolan Golem being able to trap steals with both Jirachi and Dracovish. This team, the few offensive mons it has, I think synergize really well, and then they are therefore supported really well by Sableye, Florges, Jirachi. So I think this team has a nice balance between the offense and the defense.
Oh, I also really like the Vileplume because Jirachi and Cinderace can kind of struggle with water types and Dracovish. So Jirachi and Cinderace can U-turn into Vileplume. Vileplume can do some work. It gets strength up and it's really strong too. So I like that pick.
This team has a ridiculous amount of Pokemon who can U-turn, and like he can pivot. He can make a full team of pivoters if he feels like it. And another thing I noticed with this team, just going on with the Hippopotas being able to set up Sandstream, Sand also boosts the special defense of rock types. And since Golem Alola has a pretty monstrous defense stat already, and it gets the boost from the Sandstream, it can just turn into a wall. So, and obviously it gets, Galvanize. It hits pretty hard. It can trap steel types. I think Golem Alola is a fantastic tier 5 pick, especially for this team. And then obviously Sableye. Mega Sableye is just a wall without any buffs. It doesn't need any. Plus Magic Bounce. Entry hazard shouldn't be much of a problem for this team. Alright, now we have Albrecht, the most amazing team name I have ever seen. Anyway, it has Spectre, Thunderous Incarnate, Registeel, Mienshao, Sableye, Ditto, Tangela, Pelipper, Volcarona, Regice, Granbell, and Mega Swampert. This is the other Rain team, and this is the Rain team that Paco thinks is better than the other one. But this one also hinges more on being a little more weather reliant. So Mega Swampert is just way better in the Rain than it is without.
I honestly see why. A lot of people consider this the better Rain team. The offensive threats on this team are immediately much scarier. I think Pelipper is the ideal setter for Swampert, being able to pivot out Geoelectric types, getting Swampert in for free, allowing setup. This gen with Swampert getting Flip Turn and moves like Bulk Up, I think it's become a much scarier threat. It itself can pivot out. I really like the potential of Swampert pivoting out on grass types into Volcarona. It itself can set up. I think this team does have potential of running sort of pseudo-rain to really bring out the potential of Volcarona and Spectrier, who are both really scary threats. I think picking up that Mienshao a bit later to help break darks for Spectrier will be really nice as well.
Yeah, I also really like the Ditto pick here. Ditto on Rain's really cool. Sometimes one of the good strategies to beat Rain is like scarfing faster mon so you can outspeed stuff in the Rain, but with Ditto you can outspeed the Scarfers, so I think that'll be cool. And
that is a good idea, and I never even thought of that.
There's also Sableye, who can stop revenge kills. Yeah, I really like those two picks.
This team has a little bit of everything. It has a couple pretty good walls. It has a couple, Ditto's also very good to scare people away from setting up and stuff like that. So his 2 Prankster users. And then obviously he has, pretty fast or very good setup sweepers. You can do almost anything with this team if you really feel like it.
I think the one thing I would potentially consider on this team is a little bit more defog. Pelipper is a fairly solid defogger, but it's not something it wants to run every week. Aside that, you've got Thundy, who really doesn't want to run it. So I think that would be the one thing I would change about this team, is just adding a little bit more removal.
Yeah, Pelipper is also an okay defogger, but it's not going to want to run it like every week. So yeah.
Alright, now we have the Charleston Gastrodons, which was made by Paco. And it has Tapu Lele, Toxapex, Cobalion, Incineroar, Miltank, Leafeon, Clefairy, Tornadus-Therian, Gliscor, Ampharos, Bibarel, and Alakazam. Mega Alakazam.
This team is really good. Lele Zam on its own is just fantastic. Like, that's
I think
offensive core as you can get.
I think all of us kind of saw him pick Tapu Lele and Alakazam like first and second, and we were all just like, oh no.
Yeah, and even after that, he builds off of it really well. He got Gliscor and Toxapex, which is a really good defensive core, and then Torn. Torn is an excellent, just Gloomon, as well as Cobalion, Incineroar, Miltank. Those are all really good pivots. Low tiers are fine. I mean, they're not the best, but there's low tiers, and with everything else, I think it's fine.
Yeah, it's the low tiers really don't matter when you have such good Pokemon.
He could bring the same. He could bring the same 6 Pokemon every week and
Yeah, this is
probably
one of
still have a decent chance of winning.
where it's like, you know what I'm gonna do, but good luck trying to get past it.
Exactly.
Scary offense with a really strong defensive core.
This team's gonna blow us all away, and we're all just gonna have to sit there and cry while it happens. If he sweeps with Bibero at any time this league, can we all agree to just forfeit and let him win?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Alright, I'll keep that promise.
This is Colins Team, and he has the New York Latios. This is Tapu Koko, Dugtrio, Moltres, Vaporeon, Copperajah, Drapion, Drifloon, Latios, Superior, Type Null, Lycanroc, Midnight Form, and Gallade, Mega Gallade. I don't know what to say
This
about
team is scary.
honestly. Yeah, this team.
This
This
is real
team's
scary, yeah.
I think Dugtrio goes really well with Koko, with Serp, and Latios. Dugtrio can trap those steals, he can trap the fires. There's a lot of pivoting on this team to get Dugtrio in. The opponent isn't really preparing for that Mon to come in. Gallade being slapped onto this team adds a lot as well. It's a huge wall breaker. I like some of the lower tier picks as well. Drapion, suit trapping Psychics for Latios and for Gallade's really nice. Good wish passing from Vaporeon. I like the Type Null pick. I think it's a really underrated ball in low tier. The one thing I would maybe add to this team, some more hazard setting, but he has some really good removal between all these mons.
He has
I
very
think
good
overall it's a
removal.
solid team.
His defense is also pretty good too, and it's not like it's gonna be a momentum drain either, because Vaporeon has flip turn, Moltres has U-turn, even Type Null can actually like deal damage. So yeah, I think it's pretty solid.
This is a good team.
This is one of those teams that are just like, it's a very deep team. You'll be spending a while like trying to prep for like Tapu Koko or Dugtrio or whatever, and then you'll see like Latios and Superior, you'll have to, prepare for that. And then you'll get into the battle and you'll be getting your ass kicked by like Umbird and Drifloon. You know what I mean? So
I think synergy on this team as just a whole core, I think works really well offensively. I think there's lots of moving pieces and they all move really well.
Trapping in general is just like really puts a lot of pressure on the opponent because they have a specific check to something, and then they're like, well, what if Dugtrio comes in on this and it's just gone? And then I feel like with the right Pokemon, you can kind of just get run over.
Alright, so that was our personal ranking, or our ranking slash initial thoughts of all the teams in the Seafoam Islands Draft League. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'm excited for this season to start, and I hope everyone else is excited for this to start. Well, thank you guys for joining me. I really appreciate that. And, yeah.